Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we are here to talk about the stock market. Today, I want to answer a question that someone had asked me earlier on Public. You should be following me on Public. I will add that link somewhere in the description or wherever. But they said, what stocks do you look into? What are the things that you use to determine whether you're going to invest in a company or whether you're just going to avoid it altogether or it's just not on your radar? And if you have been watching for a while, especially over the last, 6, 7, 8 months, you will notice that there are some great companies I will mention. And I'll say it hadn't been on my radar yet. And when it's on my radar, then I'll consider whether or not I'm going to invest in it or not. So what is that radar? How does a company make it onto my radar? And how does a company miss it, right? So I want to discuss three of those things, and I'll actually explain those three by reading you a portion of the post that I put on Public. Again, you should be following me. Surprisingly enough, I have like 150,000 followers on there. It's my biggest platform, which to me is surprising because I've been on Public for less than a year. I've been on Twitter for like 10 years. So it's just weird. Anyway, all that stuff aside, let's get into it. So first thing I look for is institutional ownership. And let me say this too. Everybody's criteria is going to be different. Everybody's criteria for what they look into should be different. So if you have something that's different, please let me know what your criteria is. I am interested, and share around, so we can all learn together. But the reason why everybody's criteria is going to be different is because we all have different goals. Yes, we all have different goals. We're all in a different place in life. We have different tolerance. We all have a different tolerance for risk. Some people don't like to see stuff go up and down. Some people do. Some people are fine with that. So each of those goals that you may have and each of those personality tweaks that we all have, that's going to reflect itself inside of your investing portfolio. And that is fine. So everybody's not going to agree with mine. That's okay. I'm not going to agree with everyone's in the comments either, but that's totally fine. That's why you do what you do. Take what you like, leave what you don't, and keep it moving. So I'll give you three of the different ones too, because I can sit here and tell you, well, I look at the last 5 years. Like anybody can do that. I want to give you something that's a little bit different, that I do use, but it's not like the most common things. All right, so number one for me is institutional ownership. This is the amount of shares that are owned by large mutual funds, by pension funds, by other companies. And the reason why I look into this is because for the same reason that Tesla bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, I want to know where the big money is. Where are these big players investing their money? I want to be over there with them because I know for a fact they put in a whole lot more research than I could ever do. They have entire research teams. I am one person, and I consider myself a very good investor. Wouldn't be in the top 100 without it. However, if you got a team of 50 people that determine what goes into these investments and what don't, or what doesn't rather, then I need to keep my eye on that. It doesn't make or break it, but it does tell me that if I know a Warren Buffett or Tesla or whomever, if I know that that money is there and that money is moving in that direction, that I need to also at least take a look and see. It's the same reason I've talked about this before, why I was in on Snowflake, why I was in on C3 AI, because I saw Microsoft was investing. I saw that Salesforce was investing. I saw Warren Buffett was investing. I got in on Bitcoin relatively early. I put that in air quotes, right? I got in on it in November before it hit the now records that has been hitting because I started to see PayPal was moving that direction, Square was moving that direction. And once I start to see that, that's when I personally say, all right, it's safer now because they're not going to do it, right? Individuals, y'all gonna do GameStop, you're gonna do all these crazy stuff from time to time. These bigger companies, they're not gonna jump into something and lose investors' money, because that makes them look bad and they lose money and then their stock drops. So they try not to do that. They try to be a lot more prudent. So anytime I see them do stuff, that's when I start to look at it and decide if it's right for me. It's not the only criteria, it's just one of my favorites that I use. So that is institutional ownership. There are some ways to figure out how much of it is owned and who's owning all those things. For that information, you want to make sure you check out the Investors Toolkit. So that's number one. Number two, let me scroll up here, is momentum. And this is something I've been talking about probably the last 2 years or so. Basically, momentum is I like to buy the recent winners and sell the losers. If you follow me again on Public, you will see there are only a few times of the year that I sell, June and December. But if I sell, it's because it was a loser, right? If it's good, I keep it. I don't sell stuff that does me right. If you're a good stock and you making me money like you should, why would I kick you out of my portfolio? What is the point of me getting rid of it? I only sell things that did not perform well enough. So last cycle, I think last cycle was December. So I think we kicked out Johnson Johnson, which made money, just not enough. We got rid of Equinix. I did get rid of Kroger at one point. They served me well during the pandemic. Again, I made money, great, but now it's time to go. Pandemic's not over, but we have stabilized. It's time for that to go. Dollar General is one on my radar that I am itching to get rid of. Yes, I've made money on it, but it ain't the money I've made on Nvidia, right? It's not the money I've made on Snowflake. And that's just examples. And again, it's still a good company. It's probably very good for long term. I'm fine with that, but compared to what Dollar General is making me and the time that I got into the investment compared to where the other stocks are, they're not cutting it right now. So I'm going to stay disciplined and wait until June and kick them out then, unless they perform, right? So we'll see. But those were defensive stocks that did well when the economy was tanking. Now the economy, or the stock market rather, now the stock market is not tanking, they're just kind of meh, which, I mean, that happens. That's what defensive stocks do. They're kind of blah when the stock market is fine. They're great when the stock market is falling off. So there's that. But basically, momentum is, again, I am looking into what are the biggest winners, and I'm getting rid of any losers in the portfolio. And if these winners are consistent, like an Apple, like an Nvidia, maybe a Tesla. I haven't had Tesla long enough to tell you that. If they are, then I just keep them. I just keep rolling them over. Like a Facebook, I've had Facebook for years now, and that's, I mean, more than 5 years. And that's because it has been so good for so long. So if they're good, they stay. If they're not, they go. If they become good later, then they come back. So it really depends. So that's momentum. Then the last one, the one that I'm sure you all know about, is if it's under $5, that's an automatic no for me. I do not care. I've seen people say that, well, you're missing out on some good companies because, there's a lot of companies that go from like $1.50 to $3. If it were a good company, it wouldn't be $3. I'm sorry. I'm not. Just most legitimate places, most legitimate companies are very, very rarely under that mark. And it is, again, super rare that they start there and then become like this great long-term company down the line. Could you get in and it pop and do something crazy like GameStop? Yes, it could, but also look what happened to GameStop, right? Now, if you got in at $4 and it's at, I don't know, 60 or so today, you still made a lot of money. That's if you got in at $4. If you got in at $99, if you got in at $100, $200, $300 a share, and now you're at 60, you're not looking so happy right now. That's the nature of penny stocks, where it's very, very volatile. If you pick the right one at the right time and you put enough money in there, yeah, you could definitely double, triple, quadruple overnight. But will you have gotten in? Will you have gotten out at the right time? Would you have picked the right company? All of those factors are super difficult to line up, and it's why that's more gambling than investing, in my view. Everybody's not going to agree with that. That's fine. But I will tell you, as someone who has managed more than 60 millionaires in total, not a one of them made it there by investing in penny stocks. They were almost always index funds and blue chip companies we've all know of and heard of, the Microsofts of the world, the Walmarts of the world. A lot of the older clients had a lot of ExxonMobil, which was really good. At one point, random fact, ExxonMobil was more valuable than Apple. I think that was as recently as maybe like 2005, 2010-ish, and then the tide started to turn. So just throwing it out there. So I'm going off experience. I'm going on the things I've actually seen, and I'm going off of likelihood, right? Of all the thousands and thousands of stocks, almost never, not never, almost never will you see one of those that consistently are great. They might have little quick flashes. They do well. I mean, look at AMC, right? People loved AMC. It went from, I don't know, $4 to $25 or so, and now it's back down to $6. It was great for 2 weeks, right? So, if you can get in and game the system, fine. but that's usually not a consistent strategy. So those are three things I look for: institutional ownership. So where's all the big money? Where is that going? What are they investing in? I need to put my eye on that. Number two is momentum. Is it one of the top, let's say 10 or 15% of companies? Are they in that top pack? Are they some of the best companies out there, or are they not? So get the biggest winners, sell the losers, and just keep winning with the companies that are winning. And lastly, I cut out the fat. I don't do stuff that's under $5 a share. It's a reason. It's a reason why it's down there. If you told me that I was going to buy a brand new PS5 at Dollar General, something wrong with it. Something wrong with it. It's a $500 device. You're not going to find something that expensive at a Dollar General. Same thing. I don't think the next Apple, I don't think the next Google is $5 or less. I don't think it's 50 cents a share. So it is what it is, right? But here's the thing: not everybody's looking for the next Google, not everybody's looking for the next Apple, and that's fine. So everybody has their own criteria. Let me know what your criteria is in the comments. Agree, disagree. You're looking at something completely different. Let me know. Some people love to look at charts. Other people love to look at, I don't know, lists and other things. So let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure that you check out the Investors Toolkit, because I break down the entire process. I have a lot of really interesting tools to help you quickly identify these criteria and more for the stocks that you're looking at, and actually give you a monthly list of the companies that I like that fit all that criteria. All right, so that's it for me. Talk to you guys later. Bye.